threatening the load, guys. Oh, there we go. In the bottom left here on Yansu, we have another day-night show match. The first contestant in the Protoss. It is Setheal. His opponent in the top right, sporting the orange and the Zerg pieces, it is ViperMusashi. This is a new pair here on the day-night show matches. We have not seen these guys play before. Really looking forward to see how things turn out. That's PvZ action. Now this map in particular, very, very kind of close map. A lot of entry and exit points for Blink Stalkers. That's not a very uncommon build to see on this map. There's a lot of... You got that rocks kind of separating the second and the third base. So very, very defensive Protosses have a set of builds that they can go for here. Not very much airspace around the mineral lines in the main or in the natural. So while you can run a lot of stuff in and out kind of easily, it gets a little tricky because static defenses can actually shoot at it pretty easily. So it can be limited somewhat. Now, these guys are both, I would say, about Platinum in the old understanding of the ladder, where Platinum was like, I think, what was it, 60 to 80% of the ladder. So these guys are pretty good. All right, pretty good. At least they should be. That's kind of what we've come to expect here. Of course, you know, the current ladder, everyone's in silver. Whatever, don't know what's up with that. No, Blizzard still hasn't fixed it yet, as far as I can tell. Then again, maybe if they just left, you know, maybe it'll somehow be better this season. Whatever, who knows? Just gotta wait, find out. Probe hanging out in the natural, the Zerg base right now, is just going to try and delay that base as long as possible. Even with pros, usually see them delay it until about, I'd say, 3 minutes on the game timer here. Let's see if he can actually pull that off. He's going to try his best to do it. Nope, puts it down, actually does not attack the probe, meaning Setheal had actually looked away while that was happening. Now, in a most bizarre move, ViperMusashi decides not to actually continue blocking and just run straight up into the base to scout. Sees the building gas, sees that a queen is building. I think Sethiel's just decided not to do it. Oh, look, there we go. I was like, what's going on here? Fast expand also for the Protoss down in his base. Pretty much exactly what you would expect to see in this situation. No Zerglings or anything coming out at the moment, so Setheal should have no problem getting his base up. Looks like we're going to be transitioning into kind of a more mid-game play. See what these guys have planned for us here. So far, so standard. Doesn't have to stay that way. Unfortunately for Tinker Tonk, I'm starting to have a strong feeling we're not going to see mass queens. You know, maybe, it's still possible, but it probably isn't going to happen at this point. Sixling's moving out for ViperMusashi. This is just probably an exploratory poke, see if he can get any damage done. Hey, if he manages to get in the base and actually does a ton of damage with it, fantastic! If not, whatever. At least he knows his opponent's being defensive. He knows how much he's kind of invested at the front here. Can also clear the probe out, hopefully get that guy... yep, he did actually do that. So prevent him from putting down any proxy pylons, any tech. Just keep his opponent contained. Tinker Tonk is sad about there not being mass queens. And typing in all caps. Let's see here. Now we want to really pay attention to kind of what the Protoss is doing. As long as the Protoss holds his front properly, like these lings aren't really going to threaten him. Okay, not having that on hold position is an incredible tragedy. Though is going to actually lose the Zerglings straight up. It was even on a move command. Doesn't do anything more than nick the Zerglings. Zerglings are able to get in awkwardly enough, actually get trapped by a probe, and then destroyed mostly by the cannon. So kinda evens out there. Obviously hurts the Protoss a little bit more potentially, especially if he ends up losing a couple probes. So he lost one. Honestly, what these Zerglings really want to do, though, if they can, is actually just get up into the main base. Right now, though, they have so little health that they'd probably actually die if they got too close to the cannon, which is what he was trying to avoid there. Anyway, Protoss is grabbing a couple bases. Lair coming up for the Zerg player. A couple gateways. Losing my focus a little bit. Gotta on up with 3. This is not crazy, like, aggression to the city yet. It's getting there. fact that we're not seeing a Robo or a Stargate at all, a very clear indicator. I mean, it makes the aggression all the more possible. But the gas for some kind of tech play is most certainly there, if that's the direction he wants to go with this. Any kind of gateway attack gets severely blunted in this situation just because there's no pylons out on the map to actually help the push get started. So there is that kind of limitation to it, but it can still work. So it is by no means is he forced to opt out from doing that. Which one is just about to complete for ViperMusashi. Doesn't necessarily actually mean he's going to build any roaches. I've seen this come up many, many times where it's there in case of aggression as a possible way to defend it. River Bay coming down along with a Twilight Council very quickly, probably to get up to Blink, defend against possible Mutalisks while trying to go for a third. So this is starting to look more like the Shelly defensive macro play that we see out of Protoss in this matchup. Which is interesting. It's actually not something we encounter a lot. Not necessarily on the show matches, but in general. A lot of Protosses these days have embraced a kind of MC, fast aggression style of play. And I can hardly blame them. After having used it a lot myself, it is effective. For absolutely effective. That is for sure. A lot of roaches coming out here, so Zerg may be actually looking to do a little aggression rate coming up here. This is going to be really, really difficult for the Protoss to actually hold that third, just because of the way it's got more than one entrance coming down here, not to mention the vast majority of the army units, I think, are still, pretty much just sentries, really need to engage on small chokes. The Roach army gets big enough, it can, especially if it's engaging from the right angle, the force fields really don't do much to it. Let's see. Hydra then coming up to back this up, so this is the standard Roach Hydra play. Very, very strong in the mid-game. Tries to run the Protoss over before he can get to a really scary late-game army. And Protoss is going for the scary late-game army. He's grabbing that Robo Bay for the Colossus, is getting a couple Immortals to help defend in the meantime. He's going for that fast third base, get that economy up. And really, it's going to become kind of a tussle over that third base. Can the Protoss keep its grip on the third base as time moves on? And will the Zerg be able to grab more bases behind it? Or will it transition into the late game? Late game doesn't necessarily have to be a loss for the Zerg, but kind of in the current understanding of the game, it tends to not work out so well for the Zergs. If it gets to something like a fairly big Stargate army or a large amount of Templar, Colossus, I suppose, is the most standard of standard compositions at that point. All that area of effect damage, especially effective against Hydras. Speaking of which, 11 of them about to finish. 2 evolution chambers about to complete. So actually pretty far behind on upgrades. If he does try to go for a kind of a mid-game aggression attack here, really needs to hit before most of the Colossus get out, because once you get a couple of those, that upgrade difference is going to be dramatic to the point where the pressure wouldn't really do any real damage. Yep. It's too bad, right? No all in this time. Tank is very, very, very disappointed. Gotta say, though, that Phoenix play is pretty effective. You can pull it off. Looks like we have an engagement just about to occur here. Roach is actually coming up against the front. The Protoss is notified by a single warning shot sent out against the sentries. Colossus actually just on his army here. If it actually shot down right away, if he actually loses that, that's really bad. He's surrounded on all sides. Stalkers actually blink out to the side early, but using shots from the Roaches, actually, not the Hydras are without any kind of real defense. Some reinforcements coming up from from above, but that +2 attack is just way too good against that. The entire Zerg army is pretty much demolished from here. Now, the Zerg, not the Zerg, but the Protoss does not need to engage right now. He does not need to go up there and attack. Losing the Colossus is a little frustrating, though, and he doesn't want to keep losing those big gas units. But annihilating that much gas from the Zerg is also going to help him out a lot here. He's going to really just needs to kind of wait, put up his arms, do the Muhammad Ali bounce back and forth on the ropes, wait until his opponent gets tired. Colossus range coming out here, going to help a lot against this engagement. Looks like we have a small little thing of Zerglings getting ready to attack down at the bottom right. might be waiting for the Protoss to shift his position just a little bit so we can get in there and do some damage. I really don't like the idea of engaging right now. This is actually a very, very dangerous move from Setheal. If he loses this army, he's dead. Like, really, really dead. Because remaking a lot of this is going to be nearly impossible with the amount of production that he has. Not to mention these Zerglings. Oh, okay, well, he gets lucky there. Zerglings run straight back into the army and are immediately annihilated. Like, if I was going to say, if he goes for that run by, he takes a lot of damage in that situation, just being that far out of position. However, hanging out by the Watchtower is a really good move. He's able to watch both the center lane for attacking possibilities as well as the back lane for attacks against his third. Again, he's assuming that what he really needs to worry about right now is this third base, keeping that alive. An attack can come from the middle up into the natural, though. I've had that happen to me, and it ends up killing you if you're really out of position. But he should be close enough to be able to engage properly, even if that's the case. Otherwise, it looks as if the Zerg is continuing to stick with this composition. It's gone up to 1-1. Next engagement shouldn't be as completely one-sided in one direction as it was this time. +3 weapons about to finish, but no such luck for armor. It's actually going to make things a little bit tricky as time goes on. There's going to be a brief period of time where that +3 is going to make the Protoss army very, very powerful. But as the weapon upgrades for the Zerg kick in, it's just going to get really, really squishy. Hey, freaks, man. Nice to see you hanging out. Big move out from both armies, actually moving north toward some of where the creep is. The Zerg is actually well aware of this, and he's bringing his entire force down to attack. But check out the Hydra's actually not engaged at all. Down there. First place. First base. Positioning up here, very little force fields left in this army, but enough to where he can really chop the Zerg army in half if he gets lucky. Most of those Hydras are actually still down at the bottom left. It sounds like a few Banes have hit. So this is a bunched up position. Army can't escape the Zealots are able to do as much damage as they can. +3. And the Colossus are just absolutely missing. He picks. Yeah, what's the Colossus side? Yeah. So, getting to get. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. That should make it a little bit better. For whatever reason, when there's a lot of sounds coming from inside the game, it does that to Skype. I don't know why. This should be okay now. Is this any better? We'll have to wait until we see a big battle. It should clear up, though. That disabled lane game sounds usually does the trick. Zealots moving out to the front here are able to engage onto the main hatcheries. Not main hatchery, on the third base hatchery here. Spreading out his forces a little bit to deal with any oncoming reinforcements. And it looks like the Protoss is just going to adopt the tack of just kind of limiting the Zerg's ability to get a big army up here. A lot of Banelings about to finish. That's going to be an unbelievable amount of damage, actually. But, okay. Pluses are in position to get some shots off on that. Not to mention they're going off against the Archons there. Really, really, really inefficient engagement for the Banelings right there. Down goes Queen, and he's sitting on top of the reinforcement point for it's a good force field blocking out the Zerglings from getting down there. Linking up to the high ground, fancy but unnecessary move from Setheal is actually going to lose a couple of the Stalkers right there. But I think at this point that he's more or less taken him out, so that's GG.